Hello, everyone. Yes, I am back, even though I had never officially said that I was going anywhere. I'd been in absentia from this account for about a fortnight, perhaps longer, and I never really gave a reason for that. It just so happens that around that same time, Ahab was having some issues with his computer. I believe it had basically died on him. And at the time that I'm recording this on the, 6th of April, on a Thursday of the year 2023, this will be up tomorrow, most likely. It has been restored in that he is now using the Goontix computer to upload videos, and I believe the channel of $10 Slimer is up and running. But during the period in which it wasn't, I decided that I may as well take a step back from the whole YouTube thing. Primarily because, I really do not want to discuss the reasons, but it does involve larger life issues that I myself need to resolve, and it also has quite a lot to do with my family, and I don't necessarily want to get into that under this channel. It's put me, for lack of a better term, under quite a lot of strain as of late, and it's taken time away from quite a lot. It's consumed much of my days, and pretty much the only thing I can do now is write when I'm not on a job someplace, doing my usual house and pet sitting. It's gotten out of hand. It's not out of hand, but nonetheless, it's just that that's where I was at, and I figured that, it wouldn't be too harmful if I were to leave the channel for a little while. And so I did, and thinking that, I would do so for the foreseeable future. Just about a week after I'd done this, I had found that technology was not necessarily my friend. I tell you, I've had a history of electronics not working for me. In fact, I had gone through several phones before I had settled on this one that I'm using to record this video. Either I had dropped said phone, or said phone had a battery issue and it would not stay on for a very long time unless it were on the charger, which is very odd. And those phones happen to be where I have stored the majority of my archive. So those may need to be restored, but I had encountered a problem with this particular phone in that I was on a job about maybe 2 weeks ago, and it was charging all right on a charger that was at this particular area that I was staying at, in a rapid charging cable, because my phone is a Nokia, I believe it's called a 6V or Nokia V5G. I think that's what it is. It's the one that's in the latest James Bond movie. I know that much. But nonetheless, let's see. Oh, if you want to know, I have a chair here. This chair, this is my chair that I sit in. It's a medicine ball in a little frame that's like into a rotating chair, and it has back support there. So if you hear any, I'm just hitting that. So it was charging all right, and then one day, I think the last day I was on this job, which was back, I believe maybe the 26th of March. It got up to about 30%, and then it just fails to charge in the area in which I was at. And so I tried a number of things, and basically I plugged it into an actual power block, whereas it was plugged into the wall previously. And that got it up to about 50%. And I thought nothing about it. I assumed that, it was all well and good. When I got back home and I had placed this on the charger here overnight, because that's what I do, I use my phone far more than I care to admit, and it's actually a goal of mine at some point in life to make it to where I don't have to use a smartphone, because for about 5 years I've been using a smartphone, basically since I've gotten out of high school. Through all my years there, I've had a flip phone which had its own built-in keyboard, and I thought that was very cool. That's why I had it. And it basically, the only things you could do on that was you could call someone, or you could send them a text message or email or something, and it had limited internet access, and that was fairly useful for me at the time. But then I decided to upgrade to a smartphone, and I don't want to get too much into it, but nonetheless, I'm here at this phone. And I didn't think too much of it not charging until the morning after. I noticed that basically it was on the charger and it hadn't really, the battery life did not increase. It just basically stayed where it was. And I tried every single cable that I had, because the cables I use are the Type-C USB cables, those things there. And I tried different power sources and such, and those didn't work. I tried cleaning out the charging port of my phone with toothpick. This isn't a toothpick, but this is a floss pick, but nonetheless it's a similar process. And here comes Riley. He's right here. Say hello to everyone, Ry. But I tried everything and nothing seemed to work. At the same time, also, my laptop was basically, I used Microsoft Word for all of my manuscripts, and that was basically not functional for the better part of 2 years, and I had to update it. My brother actually installed Office onto it, so now I can use it for my own purposes, whatever I may need. But around the same time this whole phone thing happened, and basically it got to the point where I couldn't get it to charge at all, and it basically died on me. And I emailed my brother asking him, what the cause could be. I told him I tried basically everything, and nothing seemed to be successful. And so we took it to this place. Well, he tried basically to experiment with it. He brought by one of his chargers. Yes, I know, you don't like being held very much. This cat right here, for some reason, whenever I hold him for a very long time, he gets very angry. I don't know why that is. This cat, I don't know if you noticed, but he's a bit overweight. And I don't know if it's because the fact that he is so fat that it's pinching his organs, or I'm not entirely sure what the reason is, but nonetheless, he doesn't like to be held all that long. So, okay, fine, I'll let you go. I'll let him be, I suppose. But nonetheless, he brought by one of his heavy-duty chargers, which actually plugs into the wall. And we tried that, nothing happened. And so we decided to take it to this place called More Than a Fix. And now this is a local place, so you probably don't have one in your area. But it was called More Than a Fix. And, we left it there to be mended. And she'll never see this, but Monsi at More Than a Fix, I thank you very much for the repairs that you've made to this phone. It's worked very well for me over the past few days, and I expect it to work hopefully in the foreseeable future. But anyway, what the problem was that the actual connectors on the port were basically damaged somehow or other. I don't know really how the whole thing works, but nonetheless, she had to resolder the actual prongs that connect the cable to the inside of the port. So it was an additional repair that needed to be done. But nonetheless, it worked. So I thought, and I have a list of things that I have to do in order to ensure its preservation. Well, another thing, my glasses. These are my emergency glasses. You can see they're broken. I tried gluing these things twice. The first time, it worked out pretty good, but in the second time, you can see there's some glue on the lens that I cannot get off for the life of me. So I may need to get a new pair. And these are readers, by the way. I do not have prescription spectacles, at least not yet. I don't know if I'll need them or not, but nonetheless, this phone will last at least maybe 3 to 6 months at the very least if I continue to apply these basic principles to it. I'm not to put too many updates on the phone. I'm not to download too many apps on it, mainly just the essentials. Not supposed to charge the thing overnight, which I've been doing, basically, ever since I got it. I'm pretty sure most people do that. They charge the thing overnight, so it'll be fully charged for them in the morning, because, they have busy days and these people always need to be on their phones. But nonetheless, I'm not supposed to be doing that. Not supposed to use it while charging, which I'm doing right now, but I don't necessarily do it all that much. As soon as I finish this video, I'm going to basically shut it off and do something that doesn't require the use of this and just let it charge. And then obviously the last thing is to be careful when unplugging it, which is justifiable because that area, whilst it is mended, is particularly sensitive. And I must admit, it charged up very well the 2 days I had had it right after I had claimed it from the shop. But now it appears as though that sometimes it charges, sometimes it doesn't. But nonetheless, it seems to work just fine. There are some files on this phone that I need to extract, particularly a few interviews with a particular faction of the family upon whom I'm basing a work of fiction, which will be written, oh Lord, maybe 3 or 4 years from now, entitled The Nurse of Frenzy. If you don't know anything about that, it's basically a novel that I plan to write based on the lives of a particularly unfortunate side of the family whose father had passed on, and basically I would chronicle how they deal with that. It's a very tragic situation. I told it on this channel twice, once in a abridged talk and once in a longer, more detailed talk. But from a story perspective, it has all of the elements there, and I figured, it would make for a good family epic sort of an all. So yeah. But I have files that I need to extract from this phone. I'll be doing that very soon. But for now, at least for the next 3 to 6 months, I'm good. But that I may be able to ensure the longevity of this phone further, I do not believe that I'll be coming back to the channel very regularly. I don't know as of yet. I was doing weekly uploads. Now I suppose I could do bi-weekly or monthly. Also because of all I'm doing at the present moment, it's preventing me from doing much else that if I were to come back, I'd just be too spent to do anything with this channel. But nonetheless, that's what's going on with my, I suppose, misadventures in technology. And I do have a couple other things to talk about before I do shut off this camera of mine. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. This book is not done. You can see there, my bookmark there, I'm about 100 pages in. I have about maybe 60 or so to go in this Dover Thrift Edition. The reason why is because I don't have any time to read anymore. So when I do read, it has to be either when I'm on a job or during the weekends when my brother doesn't show up, because recently he's been coming over on Wednesdays because he works from home, and he would want to free up his weekends with us, or with him. He'd want to free up his weekends nonetheless, and so he'd spend time with us on Wednesday. But I'd have to do it either then or then. And then also, as you can see, that wall right there is bare. As you know, I've secured wood, hopefully enough to basically put all the shelves up that I need in order to complete my library setup in here. And I'm hoping to do that in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see about that. But no, Frankenstein, this book is not finished yet. I may need to go back and actually just sit down one of these days. I have an 8-day job coming up here soon. Sit down and just read the whole thing. Because I did one video just before this whole phone business had occurred, in which I detailed that my thoughts on not necessarily the novel, but on Mary Shelley's writing style and how it basically came up to my own. It seemed almost a perfect match, even though I hadn't really read anything by her up until that point. But nonetheless, it seems that everything that I have either read or enjoyed stems from this very work right here. And needless to say, I'm probably going to remake my top 10 favorite novels video, and this will most likely be number 3 or 4, because just for the mere fact that it's inspired so much of what I love and take inspiration from, and the fact that it was written by an 18-year-old woman, it's certainly better than anything I wrote at 18 years of age, and it is in fact on par with most of everything I'm writing now. So, okay, last thing that I'm going to expound in this talk. I have been debating about this for a very long time. the fate of my first novel, the working title of which being Why Am I Forever Unloved? This is obviously the book that I wrote as a form of catharsis in high school. In fact, this right here is the original manuscript in which I had written the thing. It's falling apart, as you can see, but nonetheless. And I covered this little portion here. This is a regular exercise book, and I covered this portion because this is where the title is at, and I had originally called this the name of the person upon whom the antagonist is based, the real name of this person. For the longest time, I used to have have this cover bound in blue paper, because at the time I was still writing it, and I was still in school, and there were rumors that she may get her hands on this manuscript and possibly destroy it, and people knew what it looked like. So I basically had to put some blue construction paper around these covers so that it wouldn't be recognized. And I've since taken them off because they got kind of grody over the years. And I don't have to show this to anyone other than myself. So there. I wrote this from, let's see, when did I write this? I started it on the 9th of September and completed it, or of 2017, and completed it the 11th of October 2018. I originally thought this work not to be very good at all. I had no idea what I was doing at the time as a writer. I was purely just trying to get this off my chest so I could just go on with my life and not have to worry about this particular soul. But, and obviously I didn't necessarily think it all that great. It's semi-autobiographical, in fact even more autobiographical. This may almost be a memoir, because in the original draft I have the real names of the characters who I've spent time with, and I've changed them for the fictionalized version, except for my own, which I'm thinking of actually doing that as well. But nonetheless, I was going back through it because I didn't necessarily have that much confidence in the work. I was working on other things at the time, and I'm currently working on a novel at the moment which is far beyond this. And I basically lost enthusiasm for the work. But I was looking through it recently and found that a lot of what's in there is more brilliant than I had originally supposed. And so ultimately what I've decided to do with it, this is my only completed piece of long form fiction. What I've decided to do is, for the sake of historical purposes, this was written when I was 17, 18. I was an atheist, a very fervent atheist back then. It would, I think, be interesting to see just how my atheistic writings come up to my current Christian-inspired writing, and see which one is better. I already kind of know which one is better, but for archival purposes it would be interesting nonetheless. And I'm probably going to go over the book one more time to make it as close as possible to the original draft, because as I said, there are bits in there that are more brilliant than I had supposed. So yes, and I'll most likely do an overview of the plot here sometime soon, so you folks know what it's all about. And because there's a lot in here that may indeed offend some people. I know that for a fact, and I'd like to get a second opinion, or a third, or fourth, or fifth opinion on the matter. So I will be reading that off. Not reading it off, but detailing the plot and such on this channel. So look forward to that. Anyhow, this is a very long video detailing a bunch of things going on in my life. You know, what I'm doing at the moment, this whole phone issue that has been resolved for now anyway. My reading and writings and such, and also just everything in general. I will hopefully be able to get back to the channel here soon. We'll see. If you haven't seen these videos already, I have made 4 before I had left. One about an idea for a novel called The Ivory Tower, in which I describe some ideas I had for it. This is a work that I have conceptualized when I was 17, but never really fleshed out satisfactorily, but I'm looking to here very soon. I also have a video on my favorite passage in all of literature, so if you've not seen that, I recommend you do that. And then there's a review of my cats, Riley and Layla, which is based on a lot of the videos from JT Mitchell 87, one of my supreme influences here on YouTube, in which I go over a brief history on the cats there. And then finally there's that video on Mary Shelley and myself, in which I compare my writing with hers and find that it's shockingly similar, and that most of the sentences in Frankenstein could have at one time been written by me. But anyhow, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I am going to let this phone charge, and on my laptop I'm going to finish composing an email to someone. I'm not going to say who, but it's an email to someone. And hopefully, Lord willing, all of these trials and tribulations that I'm now going through will ease in the next few days or weeks, and I may be able to get back to doing what I want to do and need to do here very soon. Though there are no guarantees as to whether that will happen, if at all. So I thank you very much for watching. I hope you all have a good morning, midday, afternoon, evening, midnight, depending on when you all plan on seeing this. And we will see you here very soon. Cheers.